Hi everyone. I know this looks like a funny entry for my Cardspiration for this week, but I just, sometimes when things just work out, especially for supper and it gives you more time to create, you just want to share because it makes you so happy. So for Easter, my mother gave us a whole bunch of Epicure mixes. Like this is from Epicure. I think I cut the top off already. But Epicure spices, and this was a jambalaya seasoning mix. And I don't typically use mixes like this, but today I felt like crafting instead of cooking. And this was so super easy, and it looks so delicious, and I just happened to have everything that it needed. So all you needed to do was to brown some. I had 2 links of Italian sausage left over from another recipe. The ham, this is a great recipe, what to do with your leftover Easter ham. I had ham cut up, and the bone I put in the freezer to make soup with later, but then I was like getting really sick of eating ham. So I put the ham in, some chicken thighs, can of tomatoes, some rice, and this seasoning packet. And it's going to make yummy jambalaya. And at the last minute you pop in some shrimp, and I happen to have a package of frozen seafood because I did a meatless March. And so I had a lot of fish and stuff in the freezer, so I'll just throw a cup of that in at the very end. So it is on high, ready to go, and I'm going to go downstairs and create my card. I just wanted to share this with you for a couple of reasons. First, sometimes people always want to know what to do with leftover ham, and secondly, a lot of people I know are watching their weight, and they think they can't eat these kind of meals because they seem too hearty or fattening or whatever, particularly the rice. But if you replace your white rice with basmati rice or whole wheat rice, brown rice, you can eat rice and pasta. If you eat whole wheat pasta, you can eat that because it's something to do with the chemical breakdown of the sugars. So you can still enjoy delicious dinners like this, and yeah, save some time. So I'm going to head downstairs to my craft room and start my card. So before I get started with my cards, I just wanted to show you a couple of things. First, I know if you haven't already seen Yoli Bean's amazing tutorial on how to make the holder for stickles, go and watch it. So that day I sent my husband out to buy the PVC tubing, the plumbing one, and he bought the electrical one, and they were really expensive here in Canada. Like this size here was about 59 cents, and this was like 79 cents. So I just got the 2, and I'm using them for glue, which is awesome. So then I'm so impatient, so I always have to do things. I always call it my ghetto way, because I have to have it right now. So I was upstairs, and our garbage bag box was emptied. Let me just show you the bottom of this before I dump it all out. Well, I can't show the bottom, but anyway, it was a kitchen garbage bag. So, being inspired by both Yoli and Essay Crafter here on YouTube, she can do amazing things with cardboard. I mean, the woman works miracles with cardboard. So I just started playing around, and I cut strips down the top. I took the box apart, cut strips down, used my 1-inch hole punch from Stampin' Up, stamped some holes, so I made like a dozen. Then I, from the underside, used packing tape to put the box back together, painted the top, used printed paper on the sides, and some petaloo flowers there on the side, and those pearls that I got from the Goodwill. And voila! I made my own kind of ghetto version of a stickles holder. It only holds 12, and it works for now, and until I can find those plumbing PVC things. And I did it in the colors to match my craft room. So it's just sitting right here, move the camera, right on a shelf. So there's that. And then I went to the Enjoy Center. I've talked about that place. One day I'm going to do a whole tour of it so you guys know what I'm talking about. And I always grow a herb garden, and I saw these herb scissors, and I thought, oh, this will be great to cut up my chives and stuff, and they were pretty reasonable, $11. So then when I got home and unpackaged them, I'm like, oh my goodness, eureka. Look what they are. They're exactly like the Martha Stewart fringe scissors. So yeah, these aren't going in my kitchen. So check out your garden stores for these kinds of things, because I believe the Martha Stewart scissors in Canada are $20-some, and these were $11, and they are the exact same thing, the fringe makers. So I was pretty happy about that. So I just wanted to share those things with you guys in case you're like me, cheap, because that's what I am. So we're going to go on to make our card, and I was inspired by 2 different magazines. The first one is this one. It's a Canadian scrapbooking magazine called, I think it's called Scrapbook and Cards Today. So in there they show how to make a pinwheel. So I want to put a pinwheel on my card. And then also in this Stampers Take 10, this is a 2010 magazine. This card here, the background, they use that Circle Circus from Stampin' Up! And so I wanted to use, I love the whimsy of that. And I am really short on doula cards. We always give our new clients that we first meet, we give them a card to just congratulate them on their pregnancy. So I thought I'd whip up a whole bunch. And so for economics sake, I cut a 12 by 12 white cardstock piece in 4. So the cards will be 6 by 3. So I would have very little wastage, and I'm able to do 4 cards with 1 sheet of paper. Summer Smooches is the paper line I'm using from Stampin' Up! Cute, cute, bright. Look at these nice, yummy colors. The second sheet was full of borders, and look at how pretty these borders are. I just think they are so yummy. So the border I am using is a wider one, but what I did, I'll show you the one I'm using. It's this one. And it was as wide as this. This is the same one in red. So what I did is I just cut it in half all the way down, and then in half again, so I got enough for 4 cards. And because the card isn't that big, it doesn't need that wide of a strip. The thing I'm going to do is stamp the background of this card with that cherry cobbler. That's another really pretty color from Stampin' Up! So I just took some random circles from this Circle Circus from Stampin' Up! It's an older stamp set. I've had it for a while. And just randomly stamped circles all over the page. And one little trick about when you're stamping circles to give it more flow, always have some of the circles go right off the page. It just gives her a better look. Okay, so we've stamped that. And now I'm going to add that trim, this one here, just down the side here. Now I'm going to take my corner chomper, 1/2 inch, and just round the 2 corners. Boy, my jambalaya smells good upstairs. Oh my goodness, I am so glad I did that. Okay, so I've got that much done. Next thing, I'm going to run some of that really cute pom-pom stuff down the side of the card. And I'm going to put the seam side so that it's out, so it gives more of a finished look. Just going to use my glue gun. So I'm just trimming off the pom-pom. Here. Get rid of the glue thread. So we've got that done. So I'm just going to put that aside just for a second. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to make a pinwheel. I've made these on cards before, and then I never can remember how to make them. And that's what inspired me in that other magazine. So what you're going to do, this is the side I want to be out on the pinwheel. So you turn that this way. Then you fold your circle in half, using a bone folder to make sure you get a good crease, and then in half once more. Then the next thing you're going to do, so you have very visible creases down your card or circle. This is a 2.5 inch circle, and I tried it with a 2 inch circle, and it was just a little too small for the card, so I went to 2.5, and I used my We Are Memory Keepers circle cutting system, and I love it. So you cut down each of the score lines just to about 1/4 of an inch. So what I do is I put my thumb in the middle, don't go past my thumb, and just cut right up to my thumb. 3, and then 4. So you have a section in the middle that hasn't been cut through. Now, Stampin' Up! Cardstock is pretty firm, so I just kind of breaking up the core, the paper core a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is put a bead of glue, just a little one. I just find glue gun glue works best. Just a little bead in the middle. Doesn't matter if it's too much, you're going to cover it up. You're going to go from the outer corner here and bring that in, curve it over, and then just adhere it to the middle there. And hold it down till it's glued. And you're just going to simply do that same thing on each of the corners, the bottom corner. A little more glue. Bring it in. Hold it. Same thing with this one. Same corner, the bottom corner. Little tiny bit of glue. The only reason I'm using glue gun is just faster. You don't have to wait for the glue to dry. And then I'll get rid of some of this glue threads. Same thing, that bottom corner, fold it in. And before you know it, you have a pinwheel. And you can use any size circle to make these. A lot of people think these are made with squares, but it's a circle. So there's your little pinwheel. So in the center of my pinwheel, I am going to put a little, it's a little rose embellishment. It's from Making Memories, and it's somewhere in this mess. Here they are. They're vintage findings, and they had pearls and roses. So I'm just going to take the little rose and pop that in the center of my little pinwheel. And again, I'm going to use my glue, my glue gun glue. There. So now we've got a really cute, happy little pinwheel with a little rose in the center. And I mean, you could use these, you could add them to dolls and stick them in cupcakes or whatever you want. I just think there's nothing more happy than a little pinwheel. So the next thing, I'm going to go back to our card now, decide where on the card front I want my pinwheel to be. So probably about there. And then I'm going to make my stem for my pinwheel. And that's where all this ribbon comes into play. So I'm going to use this red polka dotted one. That's going to be the stem. So I'll just trim off a little piece here. Here at the top here. I don't want to go too far down just yet, because I'm going to take the blue gingham, just a tiny little piece of the thinner ribbon, and I'm going to tie a little bow, not even a bow, a knot around the stem of the pinwheel. Can't tie it too tight because it scrunches up the red ribbon and it won't lie flat. So just enough so you can get a knot there on your stem. And then continue on to glue the red ribbon down. So now I'm just going to simply glue down my pinwheel right like that. And again, because it's been constructed with the glue gun, you can push down hard on this. It's not going to fall apart. So just press really hard down like that. And then the stamp set I used for my front sentiment of the card is another old, I'm sure they don't sell this anymore, it's called Swell News. And it's got a pregnant lady and some diaper pins and all kinds of an You Grow Girl. And I have used that probably hundreds of times. So the sentiment I'm using is congratulations on your swell news. And what I did, just stamped it in that cherry cobbler on white cardstock, just a scrap of white cardstock. And just to add to the whimsy, and here again, this is where I'll use these scissors, instead of cutting it out in a linear fashion, I'm just cutting it all around like this. Part of the reason for this was a mistake. I cut out my, I was trying to cut it in a square fashion, and I cut it too far, and it didn't look right, so I thought, oh, what if I try this? And I like how it turned out. So just rounding the edges. So I've got something that looks like that. And then I took the label punch from Stampin' Up. Whoops, sorry. I took the label punch from Stampin' Up, and on the flip side of the pinwheel paper, the scraps, I just punched out a little label, and so it gave us some more whimsy. And with my ATG gun, I'm just going to glue the sentiment on there. And then I'll use some foam tape, and yes, I did go out and get some more. Nice big roll. Makes me happy, happy, happy. Okay, so then I'm just going to pop my sentiment. I just raised it up for a little dimension. And there you have my client cards that says, or for any expecting mom, congratulations on your swell news, with a pinwheel. And then inside we always say, all the best to you on your pregnancy journey from Doula Connections. And then I everybody signs their name, so it's more personal. So I managed with one sheet of cardstock. I've got 4 really, really, really cute cards. I love them. So yeah, I didn't really make my cards following the inspiration from the magazine, but I was certainly inspired by the pinwheel, by the background of the Circle Circus stamp, and by the tie on. They did this in the book, and I'm not sure which card it was on, but they did tie the stem with the ribbon around it. So I think these are bright, happy, and very, very cute. So I'm going to go check on my jambalaya that smells so delicious. That looks good. Just added the shrimps and scallops, so they're not quite, but the chicken is cooked. Just gotta wait for our shrimps to turn pink, and this looks yummy, yummy, yummy.